Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And I apologize ahead of time for any sniffling or sneezing. I'm getting a little sick, but the code must go on. So here we go. We're taking another look at the blog API, and we're going to try yet another way. I I was, I've had obviously I've made a couple attempts at this, and this way I think is kind of a terrible implementation. But if it works, right? So, what I'm hoping we can do, oh, sorry. What I'm hoping we can do is place, I know it's terrible, and I did a little bit of work just preparing for this episode. Um, just, fiddling around and then going, I should really record this. Um, Basically, all I did was I created a login view and a welcome view, and then I used my index method to basically, basically take you to the login view if you're not logged in, and if you are logged in, go to the welcome view. And right now, the welcome view really doesn't have anything in it, and so we'll just say that's not valid. Welcome, and eventually we can get the username and really flesh this out. But again, we're just experimenting, see if this is even possible. The login view just has a link that says sign in with GitHub, apparently. User, OmniAuth, authorized path, provider, GitHub, stuff we've all seen before. And that's my thought at the moment. So, I also threw in a blank comments controller because, eventually we're going to get to that. And I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. I don't know why I was just running commands. I was like, oh, I could run this one too. Okay, so when I tried this, I got refused to display in a frame because it's set to XFrame options to same origin. Okay, so this is, it's probably a header, right? I probably need to set some header. And a lot of these are saying that, here we go. So allow from URI. Deny. Cannot be displayed in a frame regardless of the site attempting to do so. Can only be displayed in a frame in the same origin of the page itself. The page can only be displayed in a frame on the specified origin. In other words, if you deny, not only will attempt to load the page in a frame, other sites attempt to do so will fail from the same site. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do is set this header in Rails. So I need to go Rails set response header, and just look up the really simple syntax for response.headers. Look, it's right there. We'll just look for it real quick. Cookies, filters, request forgery, streaming. Or Command F, the amazing search any page command. What were we looking for? What was it? Response. RESPONSE. Headers. Aha. So response headers blah equals blah. Okay, so simple enough, right? And that's essentially what we want to do. So inside of our, Rails action here, we just want to do response headers. Was it X frame options, right? Yep. And we want it to say allow from, and I guess, 127. Allow from 1 to, well, let's try HTTP 127.0.0.1. We might need to add the 443, or sorry, 4000 for the port number. We might not. Usually you don't. So we'll give this a shot, right? We'll refresh, and we get is not a recognized directive. The header will be ignored. Oops. Allow dash from. Yep, make sure everything is typed exactly, or else it won't work, right? But we did get, like, welcome. That's good. Yay. So this means that I guess I did get authenticated. And now it actually is giving me a little bit of information. Okay. So, I wonder how to test this out. Like, unlog? Like, log out? Is there a route for logging out that I could throw in? C workspace log break routes. It probably is, and it's probably like log out path. But we will see, right? Destroy user session, user slash sign out. So that's what I want. Destroy user session path. So on the welcome page, I'm just going to put that little link there, and we're going to see what happens. Link to log out and destroy user session path. Refresh, come over here, refresh this page. If I click on logout, I get a big fat error. I guess, I don't know. User sign out not found. It's still saying that the header is going to be ignored. Okay, let's try, okay, how do we do this? Login, home. Oh, what does the error say? Really? It's supposed to be built in. That's really strange. That route should exist. Okay. Oh yeah, so thing one I wanted to try was this. Let's see if that works. And, okay. We're still getting this error. Strange. Okay. Okay. Well, again, strange that we're getting this, sign out error. because it's finding the right route. Get. I need to call delete. Got it. Got it. Do pay attention to your verbs when you're using these. They won't automatically be put in. So the way to do that in Rails is you just go method, delete. I think that's right. And then you come back. We can refresh and click logout. And I get template is missing, so great. Awesome. Okay. What template is missing? Missing template home index. It's because I've remapped home index to something else. I know that we got that before, but if I refresh, I should get template is missing. Now what? Wasn't I getting this before down in the authenticated method? I believe so. How is my template missing? Why are you looking for home index when I'm telling you explicitly? What if I try that? I wonder if I'm like typing that in wrong. No route matches path through on mouth callbacks, missing required keys, provider. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Well, provider is being set here, however, maybe it doesn't like the slashes. And I need to set it to, I need to set it to string. So we will do that here. Okay, now refresh. And I've got a sign in with GitHub. And I click on that, I get welcome such and such. And our page didn't refresh. So now the other part of the experiment is let's drop into the CSS of things. And border none, that didn't help. Let's see, remove border from iframe. Frame border 0. Okay, we can give that a shot. So we come back to, actually we need to go to WebStorm for our, where we're actually implementing, and what was it? Frame border equals 0. Save that, refresh, and now it pretty much looks, in a way, like it's part of the page, even though it's not actually part of the page. And so the plan is that this will give us that seeming functionality of, oh hey, this is part of the page, even though in fact it's not part of the page, and it's part of the API itself. So if you're interacting with this box, you're actually interacting with the Rails web API. And then if you're interacting with, say, this, you're interacting with the GitHub hosted Jekyll blog. And this is great, actually. This is really what I was kind of looking for. This kind of like, it looks like it's in the same, but it's not. And so let's try to see what we can do with this. All right, I am going to go crazy again and dabble a little bit with this um, what was it? Let's see, the default.html. These pages, page content wrapper content, and I'm wondering, I wonder if I can put the iframe here. This is probably going to look completely like crap. So I will remove that, and then I will also remove the button from the top here, since that's not that implementation isn't working. Go back to default. I'm going to throw this here, and then we're going to see if we can adjust the essentially the size of this iframe to kind of match what we want. So we'll call this, we'll give it a CSS class of login frame. And then we'll refresh page, and hopefully it shows up to the right of the about. That's my guess. And where to go? So let's find the about in the elements here, and I see this. And then I see nothing. Okay. That's strange. Okay, we will, I guess, remove it from there. And maybe let's put it, I guess, where we had our posts, right? So that was up here. Yep. I have been fighting with my IDE for a while. I like 2-space indents. And there's apparently this really simple way to do it. You just go into your settings, you go editor, JavaScript, and then you go, oh look, I want to change the default. And you just 2, 2, and 2. That's what I want. So then I say apply, and it creates a default 2. Okay, maybe that's just its normal functionality. And you can see I've done this a couple times. And then I go, oh, well, copy to project. And it says, okay, it was copy to project. Switch to this created scheme? Yes. Okay, simple enough, right? So then we look at project 222. I say, okay. Now, okay, yes, that's JavaScript. But to prove the point, I can do, okay, it worked there. I don't know, it usually doesn't work, and it's frustrating that I go through that exact same step and it just doesn't want to align no matter what I do. Very frustrating. Like, here's an example, right? Well, I mean, kind of. I guess I can see why it might think to do this, even though I prefer that and this. And then, you know, offsetting these. But, you know, whatever. Okay. Yeah, I don't have time to be bitter about all of that. Okay, back to the serious work. So we've got iframe, and we haven't refreshed yet. And it has refreshed, but we're like way too large. And one of the other things I wanted to do, where is that? I wanted to go to github.com, and I wanted to look up kind of like their button stuff, right? I'm pretty sure that they have like some free, let's see, GitHub OAuth login button. Usually they actually provide you with some graphics and stuff, and they say, oh, hey, here, look, you can use our stuff. The other way we can do it is we can use Ionicons. If you haven't looked at them yet, they're part of the Ionic framework, or they kind of came about for that. But you can use it completely outside of the Ionic framework, and you can use it with anything. And they're fully licensed. They are full MIT, 100% free and open source, and they come with a lot. All of these icons are fully legal for you to use in anything. You know, you cannot claim them as your own, but you are allowed to use them in phone apps, in websites, in, you know, non-web stuff. And this is kind of the interesting part, is they have like GitHub stuff. And so what you do is you just create something, and you put this as the class. You put I think it's Ion, and then you put Ion Social GitHub, and it puts that there. So this is also available in through Bower. I love, or we could do the CDN. Cool. Does that come with the fonts? Because these are all technically fonts. If I can get just the CDN, that would be great, actually. So, layouts, application. So what we want to do is include, we'll just do a standard link rel style sheet with a type text CSS and a href of that URL, and then we just close the link tag. Now, in theory, we now have that in all of our pages. And so what we, in theory, can do is basically put right in front of the button, well, we kind of want it on the button. I can't remember how to do that with actual like HTML output. We want to place, let's see, just for testing we're going to do this, and we'll do span class Ion, what was it? Social GitHub. Nitrous. Alright, Ion, social GitHub. Alright, then we close our span. And again, in theory, this should allow the Octocat to appear. So now, basically what that's allowing us to do is we can use it inside, say, a button. So, let's see, Rails button tag with HTML. Aha, that makes sense. Okay, so we do want to link to. That makes a lot of sense. So what we need is link to with HTML. So we can just say raw and then place whatever. Or here's another strategy actually. I like this a little better. You don't have to do the whole raw thing and write it as a string. You can, this is a lot more semantic in my opinion. So I would much prefer to try to use this method. So I believe what you do in that specific instance is, let's move this down here and put a tab there, and we'll move that up, and then we want to move the text down to be after here. Then we remove the first argument, and then we say do, and then at the end we do end. And in theory, this should generate a all-in-one link. Great. So now we need to make it look like a button. Let's cover this. Let's talk about some CSS hijacking. Basically, you can go onto a page and you find something you like, and then you go, oh, hey, I really like this. You can, there's lots of different ways to do this, but basically one of the easiest ways is try to find, you find some sort of button that you like, you look at the classes that it has on it, and then you basically copy the classes. It's and only the important pieces. So like this one, border color, background repeat, background image, background color, text shadow, color, all this stuff is important for this particular one. And this is very GitHub style, so we're essentially kind of, we're providing a link to GitHub to log on. This is Bootstrap mostly, so we can change the colors around a little bit, but this will give us a good start. And then we can also, it also has mini buttons, so we can cover some of this, but let's just go with the base class of the primary and see if this looks kind of like what we want. We also might need a bunch of this stuff, but a lot of it seems to be kind of, I don't know, we'll go with what we have so far. So that's, if you like something you see on someone else's page, you don't want to steal things that are obviously copywritten or too distinct, but if you just want to kind of like get something that, oh, that's what I really like to start with, and I'd really like it to look like that in the beginning, then you can definitely do that. So we'll call this GitHub button. Alright, we save that, and then we go into our assets style sheets, and we'll go into our application style sheet, and we can create our GitHub button, and then pass in all of our stuff that we grabbed from that page. And potentially, when we refresh the page now, we get kind of what looks like a GitHub button. So we need to come back and probably need to grab a little bit more stuff. What was the other thing? The mini button had padding and line height, which is probably the missing pieces to this, to make it actually look like a button. So we can just throw that in here as well. Save that. Refresh. We're getting a little closer. Still doesn't quite look like the button that we see here, but we continue looking on a little bit. Mini button, primary, and flash action. See, oh, border radius, that's an important one. Display inline block. Not really that important. Font size. That could be important. So we'll grab the font size, we'll throw that over here, and we'll grab the white space and the cursor and stuff. We'll take the border radius, and I guess the WebKit appearance. And that should really be everything. If we're missing anything, who knows? Okay, font family. That's the other thing, is we are using a different font. That's always something to weigh in on and think about. So we'll go to computed, and we've got font family, all of this, right? So if we pull that in, and font weight is bold as well. I see font size. I don't see font weight. So we'll add that. Font weight is bold. And then we refresh the page again. We're getting a little closer. We're still having the buttons still not really the size we want. So I've switched over to the computed, which means this is everything on that element. And we could literally copy all of this and move it down. The big ones that I'm looking for at the moment are paddings. Padding left, padding right. Well, I think white space, width, line height, height 26 pixels. Is that, how does that actually get computed? Height, position, display, we got all this. Background, border box, transparent, word wrap, font. Trying to see where does the it's like, where does the height actually get set? Padding 10 on each side. Well, the one thing we didn't set was inline block as well. So we can try throwing that in. Display inline block. And just seeing if that does anything for us. Yeah, that's a lot closer. So as you can kind of see, like, you just have to really like fiddle with it and play with it. And there's obviously some stuff that, you know, we don't quite have on here. Like, we don't have a border, but oh, I also, oh, here we go. Inspect element. So here's our version of it, right? Border 1 pixel solid. I mean, that's pretty close, right? And I know that we don't want the underline of the text. So that would be, oh, what is that class? Text, no, font style. Font decoration, no, font text decoration. None. And that's removed the, now that has removed, oh, I know what it is. I think our button is a lot longer, so we need to increase the border radius as well. So we'll make it round out a little more. Yeah. I like 7 pixels. That's kind of a interesting roundness. Yeah, so I'll go with that. So we did text decoration none, and we increased the border radius to 7. So we go nitrous, increase our border radius to 7, and set text decoration to none. Cool. Now we can save this, of course. Refresh our page, and we get the same button. So now, when we click on it, we go back to our really ugly whatever, but it gets us kind of in that general direction. So yeah, so I think we have a working model. We actually have something working. So the plan from here is we're going to limit this down so it's not pushing everything down too much. We're going to make it look appropriate. We're going to move it just where it needs to go. We're going to set it so that when you do sign in, it says welcome and your username. And then inside of each of these posts and stuff, we can actually have comments, finally, because you'll be logged in, so we can put comments and I'll know who you are. So that's great. Then our subscribe box that we put here a long time ago can it can basically, in a way, just turn into a subscribe button because I'll know your email from your GitHub. So this is great. This is really exciting, actually. And we're starting to really make the first steps towards a finally working true integration between these two technologies. So this is proof of concept. Don't give up. If anything in the web can be done, and I want you guys to live by that. Anything can be done. But how long is it going to take you? How much headache are you going to go through? How much manual coding are you going to do? And how much is worth it? In my opinion, everything that I've been through is worth it. I've learned so much about OAuth. I've learned a lot about dealing with cross-site integrations. I have learned about dealing with using Jekyll and Angular and Rails combined together. I have learned things that I can't do, which will prevent me from having to make those same mistakes in the future. Things that you can't do are good to know, so you don't waste that time in the future. And like I said, you can do anything. You just have to find a way around security procedures usually. And I think I've pretty much accomplished like just that. And I'm really glad that I've been able to do this. Now there's still some security concerns I need to be worried about and I still need to take care of. And that's all stuff to look into in the future. It's probably going to be a lot more secure once I actually get it on a real server, pointing to a real server. And then I can hopefully use that allow frame, or allow from, or whatever, to correctly, only allow it on my site, so that people that are being malicious can't essentially copy this iframe code here, throw it on their site, and suddenly start using my API. That is not what we want to do. That's a pretty big security leak if you're thinking about it. So we're definitely going to protect ourselves against that. And again, just don't be afraid to take on the problems and don't give up too early. You might miss out on a really big lesson that will teach you a lot and advance you so much further in your career. Giving up too early isn't going to help anyone. I tried and I tried and I tried and I tried again, and we finally got it. And again, I've learned so much. This has been so worth making 4 or 5 videos of me trying to figure out a way around this, and attempting at doing this. And we finally succeeded at one. So, yes, get out there, write good code, and don't be afraid to take on a challenge, and don't be afraid of trying something different. Eventually, you will find the right answer and you will succeed. All right, that's been enough for now. We will pick this up, hopefully back with some real coding now that we've got everything signed in and working with OAuth. And we'll get back to getting this page styled, adding these new features to it, which I'm really excited about. And then you guys will be able to use them on the site, and you'll know how they're made, and that's always really cool. So I will see you guys next time.